All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody's doing well today. As always, let's turn off all distractions, grab pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage, right? As always, we want to make sure that we're taking massive action, and that action stands for accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome, centering yourself, body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading, trusting education, strategy, trade skills, and intuition. Imagine your trade successfully materializing, obeying your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, and never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. All right. So if everybody can hear me okay, drop me a one in the chat. Perfect. Perfect. All right, give me 1 minute, everybody. All right, appreciate it. Let's get to it. We'll take a look at some fundamentals real quick. And then, and then we'll take a look at the charts. So, trading economics. All right. European stocks in 2-day win streak. Major boroughs in Europe were lower on Wednesday, giving back some of the gains of previous two sessions, which were fueled by China's comprehensive monetary stimulus package. Um, mm, 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 mm. Both the Pan-European Stocks 500 and the Stock 600 both were down. Banking, energy, and utility stocks were the biggest losers, while mining stocks gained. Then we had Australia CPI, monthly consumer price index in Australia rose by 2.7% from the previous year, compared to a market forecast of 2.8 and July's reading of 3.5, the lowest figure since August 2001, entering the central bank's target range of 2 to 3% for the first time in 3 years, amid continued impact the continued impact of the energy bill relief fund rebate, with electricity prices falling the most on record and automotive fuel dropping for the first time in 13 months. Um, Excluding volatile items and travel, CPI rose 3% in August, the least since December 2021, and lower than 3.7 in July. So inflation is coming down in Australia, right? And it's still high, right, in the higher portion of their range, but it's coming down as they would like. So it'd be interesting to see if that trend continues, right? One of the things that RBA has been concerned about is that trend of inflation coming down, not continuing. So dropped into their range, but the higher end of their range. So we'll see how they take the data and if that data continues to pan out that way going into the month of October. All right. Then we talked about that. We'll go over to the calendar. Um, Data from yesterday. We had consumer confidence came in below expectation for the dollar. Governor Macklem spoke out of Canada. Would like to see economic growth pick up above 2%. if there's further adjustment in the labor market, it probably will be more unemployment. So he's looking at the job market continuing being impacted. Um, if growth doesn't continue there, then that's the CPI number. Core CPI for Japan came in at expectation of 1.8%. The Bank of Japan is Governor Ueda spoke um, yesterday. I got a chance to read just a little bit, and he's looking at the services sector to see if services inflation um, continues to rise, similar to the manufacturing side. Excuse me. So going into October, the services inflation number is where they have their eyes to see if inflation is moving up more broadly um, across the country, and if the wage increases are starting to filter in across the board. So that CPI number 1.8%, they want, and he also wants to see that core CPI number get to 2%. So we'll see if they raise rates in October as well. That number came in at 1.8. Then you had this is a services producers price index came in at 2.7. So the cost on the services side, cost of goods is increasing. So inflation is rising there. So looking at things more broadly for Japan is what Governor Ueda is looking for. So we'll continue to monitor that to see. Later on today, we got crude oil inventories and new home sales. And then we have monetary policy meeting minutes for Bank of Japan. FOMC member Kugler speaks. Yeah, and that'll wrap up our day. All right. Um, you also have things continuing to escalate um in Israel, right? There were strikes yesterday, some intercepted by Israel from Hezbollah. Um, Other countries are trying to step in to keep this from escalating and keep Israel from initiating a ground war in Lebanon. Um, because if that occurs, then we'll have an expanded war there. Yesterday, you also had Jamie Dimon talk about um, reiterate some of his concerns from earlier in the year regarding geopolitical tension. And basically, he said it's getting worse. The war in Ukraine and Russia, he said that's going to continue to extend out and potentially get worse, or is getting worse, has gotten worse, um, and major concerns with the war in Israel, in Gaza. So that came from Jamie Dimon yesterday. So the geopolitical piece is kind of moving to the forefront all around. And there are concerns there. He also mentioned that he would not put his eggs in the basket of a soft landing when it comes to the U.S. economy. So those are words from Jamie Dimon. So we will see how things continue to go. All right. You guys have any questions or things that you guys saw fundamentally that you want to bring to the table?
Just wanted to get an understanding with the war, with the weather concerns, and they're talking about there was going to be supply disturbance, but at the same time is less demand. Wouldn't How would you project that?
So if you have less, and that's going to be the interesting balance, right? Um, which one is going to be for lack of better terms, worse, right? Will the decreased supply be overshadowed by the disruption that could come with an expanded war, right? Because there could be with that disruption, it could disrupt a lot, right? Of the oil production. So that could definitely overshadow the uh the lack of demand, right? Um, the weather piece will be an interesting add, right? If it's a milder winter, then right, there's less demand also. But again, if this war expands, not only will good, so think about it. When you have war, you have disruption, but you also have an increase of usage of oil, right? To create other things that go into the production of um supplies. So it'll be an interesting back and forth on what that demand looks like because the demand could come from other areas to create supplies for war. Um, Along with other commodities. So it'll be an interesting balance to see where that actually goes. I would be leaning more toward the impact of the war being the stronger force opposed to the decrease in demand. As of right now, that's more where I'm leaning.
Okay, because what I'm learning is because of the war, even though that it is war and it does pump up the prices, but if they turn to the US dollar as a safe haven, it goes against oil.
Sure. Um,
But we weak now, so they wouldn't even want to buy into us. Never mind. I thought about that.
well, it's still the petrodollar, right? So cash could still flow into the dollar because it is still the world's reserve currency, right?
Right.
So we could see an increase in the dollar, absolutely. Um, but that impact, we could see the dollar's impact across other currencies opposed to the impact on the oil side, right? Um, yes, cash will be flowing into the dollar, but you'll have oil being used in other areas. So it'll be an interesting balance to see. Benny, good morning, bro.
My bad, I was on mute. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. How are you,
All
Ryan?
good, man. I'm doing well, dude. How about yourself?
Oh man, I'm doing pretty good. Always glad to be here with the group.
Yes, sir.
This is
What are your takes on before we get into your things top of mind for your take on Joy's question?
I just think it's mixed, man. I think it's a mixed bag.
Yeah,
In which way things could go. Because there's certain sectors that we know that benefit, from war type scenarios where it can hurt others. You know.
right.
Um that that's just where I'm at with it. It's just mixed. It depends on what sector you're playing in and which way you want to play your cards.
Gotcha.
I think where you're more. I think is better with any of these. Just like when we talk about non-farm payroll and things like that. I think it's better to be in a reactionary position as opposed to an anticipation. What you anticipate.
I
You
feel
know.
that.
You know what I mean? Like we know that. When you talk about just the military industrial complex as a whole, there are companies that will directly benefit from an escalation in war, where there will be
Hmm.
other, areas where it suffers, right? There's other areas where like oil, where if you get a supply shortage, like is there, if things economically are tightening in certain parts of the world, could there be less demand like with China? But then China just, right, is pretty much doing some things to help, to help stimulate their economy, right? Because a lot of the demand talk was coming out of China, right? So who is the largest consumer, of oil right now? And so when they talk about a lack of demand, a lot of times, you know, people are looking at it from China. But at the end of the day, there's less demand, but there's demand. You get what I'm saying? There's still
Yeah,
demand.
there's still
So
demand.
yeah, so if you end up with supply constraints for something like oil, you're still probably gonna see that price, right, increase, because that's gonna take over at that point. That's where all the concern is gonna be is on the supply side. Should it continue to escalate and things, and you have things really have an impact on oil. So I think that again, you have to just be more reactionary to see how things play out, and then take a look at where things are technically and play your positions and your trade ideas from there. At least that's how I'm looking.
I feel you. Yeah, I feel you on that.
Thank you. I didn't think about the supply concerns and then the raising of the prices. Thank you.
Yep.
Um, what else, bro? What else is top of mind for you?
Man, just looking at the stock market, things continue to run, hit all-time highs. I know we had talked about it before, but a week ago. Things like the Taiwan semiconductor, we had talked about that stock a while ago. And just if you're not looking at the individual, stocks, in that tech, that AI space, that chip space, at least be looking at an ETF. But we're seeing, Taiwan semiconductor, you know, uh,
What's that symbol?
moving. Taiwan, that is it TSM? Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. Um, that's TSM when you look at, because I'm just looking at, when you look at the breakdown, the S&P, since the S&P is running long, where's the impact coming from, right? The positive
Yeah.
impact. Again, like yesterday, you had Nvidia, that's continuing to recover. But when you look at an ETF, if you're looking at like SMH, a semiconductor ETF, one that I follow, is heavily weighted, right, with Nvidia, but right next in line is Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, 13.79%. So
Mm,
as those two go, because I think Nvidia is like 20% of it, almost 21% of it, of the total weight in that ETF. And then when you look at Taiwan Semiconductors at 13, almost 14%. Then it drops off from there, like Broadcom is at 8.45%. So just those two. So as they go, that ETF is, so I really kind of hone in and pay attention to those companies, that are holding the most weight within these ETFs, and then look at the individual stocks as well.
gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
yep.
Here's that SMH. You see we got a 618 retracement, got that swing low to form with the stochastic in the buy zone, and we've been moving up, right? Beautiful retracement here. And now we're moving up, trying to break the cloud on the daily, right? We got our TK crossover here. Can we get a cloud break? We got a stochastic in the sell zone, so potentially a retracement coming. But does that come after we get the break of this cloud? We'll see how the market opens today. Um, so it'll be interesting to see. I appreciate the work that you're doing on these sectors, bro, and getting us a clear understanding of how they break down and what's where. So
Hmm.
as we continue to move forward through the rest of the year, we can have really good insights on where these things are moving. So it's greatly appreciated, man.
Appreciate it. Another one, right? So think about it, everybody. Okay. So China, right? We're talking about them coming in and providing a floor, right, for the economy, is they've recently unveiled, right? It was front page. What was it, yesterday, I believe, or day before? You know, uh, they unveiled their new plans, right, for monetary easing measures, right? So if you do our training, right, you understand like monetary easing, right? So they're trying to boost their economy. So you start to think about different companies, Alibaba thing, because they're trying to stimulate, boost that economy, get things going to get consistently on an uptrend. So another one, right? If you're not looking at the individual uh, stocks, you could look at something like what was the one we went over a couple weeks ago? MSCI, right? So the China
Yep.
ETF, okay, I shares China ETF, right? So I'm looking for that, to make gains as a result. Right? I think for the year it's up like 6.5% or something like that.
MCHI.
MSCI.
Oh, MSCI. Oh, yeah, that's this one. That's EEM, right? Is the other symbol for it?
I thought it was I think it's MSCI. It's not coming up.
So this one is different. This is an actual uh stock, MSCI.
I'll find it. I got it on my
But
chart.
EEM, you talking about that emerging markets one, right?
That's a different, but we can talk about that one too.
Or the MCHI is that China one
HCHI.
that has
Oh,
Alibaba in it.
that's what it's under. Okay. Yep. Yep. That's it.
MCHI.
Yeah, I believe.
That's the one that has Alibaba in it.
Yep. With the
Yep.
breakdown.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. So that's it.
Boom.
Yep. MCHI.
There we go. And we see, right? Those swing lows. Boom. And you see the takeoff. Um, broke this level of daily resistance. Major gap to the upside with that news out of China. And you see we're rising, right? We zoom all the way out and take a look at where we are. Been on the move down, right? Been on the move down. And now we're making those higher lows, working our way back to the upside. Got the cloud break. We got a twist on the daily. Now we got a stochastic in the sell zone. So look for a pullback, potentially close that gap, and then continuation to the upside. Right? So as we continue to move down through the time frames, we'll see. Boom. 618 retracement on the 4, headed to the D extension, 48.89. Right? Falls right in line with the fundamentals. What else you got, bro?
That's it, man. So if you're doing the research, right, it's the NASDAQ symbol is MCHI, but it's actually called the iShares MSCI China. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So for people that may be confused, because I was. Because when I'm looking at the iShares site, from Black, right, it's actually what it's called, and then there's the ticker symbol. Yep. So that's it. So that falls. We were talking about this, I think, a week ago or so. Kind of lose track at times, but uh, looking at it where it was technically, and then for them to come through and unveil, a monetary policy with some easing measures, right, to boost the economy, kind of played right into our hands on that. So
Yeah.
looking for pullbacks and continuations on that ETF.
Yes, sir. That's the one we're talking about right there in the chat, good people. um, that's the one that we got on the screen. Check it out, right? Do your research on it. Yeah, cool deal. Team, do you guys have any pairs or anything you guys want us to look at before I go into my list? So I'm actually curious to, as we're talking about war, take a look at some of these defense stocks. Pound NZD, CAD Swiss. All right, gotcha. That Pound NZD is in an interesting position as well. All right, cool. So Pound NZD. Daily time frame. This is where we sit. Let me take some of this off real quick. Boom. All right. Break, retest previous daily resistance levels here. Right. And we've just been hovering a bit, but we got a swing low, started to move to the upside. Now we're getting a pullback. Stochastic moving down. Right. So we'll wait until that stochastic gets back in the buy zone here. And if we're able to stay above the support level, look for a buying opportunity on this back to the upside. Okay. We got a 50% retracement on the capital fib. See if we can get price to continue moving long. Okay. So we'll watch and see how things develop here. Coming out of the BOE, they're being very cautious on rate cuts. Some of the members, that's their sentiments. They want to be cautious regarding rate cuts. So they're kind of leaning more toward the side similar to Australia, right? Where they're cautious about cutting rates. So we could see Bank of England take their time. Okay. Which could mean, excuse me, more upside movement here. Obviously, depending on what happens with the New Zealand dollar, but if we stay above this support level at 209,865, see this continue moving to the upside, getting us back to this daily resistance level, at least this daily resistance level here at 218, right? Or 219-ish. Okay. So we'll watch that there from a daily perspective as that stochastic continues to push to the downside. We're coming down to the 4. I want to come off of this low. Nope, all that got taken out. All right. This is where we sit, right? So this is our range that we're sitting in right now. So we'll watch to see if we get price to settle in with that daily stochastic getting back to that buy zone, right? So we could see another push to the downside, maybe giving us a double bottom here at the support level. Okay, so let's watch and see if we're not able to break out of this. If this level holds, we'll look for upside. If this support level breaks, then we'll be looking for price to continue to fall. Okay, so watching that there, kind of in a bit of a holding pattern right now. So as we look at the 1, that got taken out to the downside. Right, so that's where we are on the 1 hour. Stochastic in the sell zone. So you see the stochastic by time frame is mixed, right? Daily you got it pushing down, 4 hour you got it pushing up, 1 hour you got it pushing down. So that gives you your consolidation, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we see more downward movement, getting us to the support level before we see price turn around and push back to the upside. But once that daily stochastic gets into the buy zone, then I'll look for some buying opportunities on this one. Questions? What are you seeing, Joy?
I've been waiting for that 4 hour to push up before I exited my trade.
I gotcha. Okay.
It's been down that stochastic been down for a while.
Yeah. So you're looking for another move to the upside?
Yeah, I was hoping for the deep retracement. And then I know it's consolidation, but just watching once it passed that last area, that last wing to the left, because I was looking like for like either a head and shoulder or
Yeah.
crowns to form right there. Yeah, once I seen that get broken, I kind of got concerned.
Yeah.
So I was just hoping for one more push up before I move back down.
I dig it. I dig it. We shall see. We shall see, right? Um, just going off the daily stochastic here, I think we could see more downward movement. As I don't know if we'll take out the support level, but at least getting us back to that support, and then giving us a buying opportunity. So be cautious there. What's your entry on this one?
I am at 210412.
2104.
Yep.
Okay, so not bad. All right, somewhere in this range.
This one of the moves. Once I seen that last rally, I was like, I should get out. I was like, and didn't and should have.
Why can't I set my level? 2104. So not bad, right? So even if price does continue to push down, we'll come down to it. Even if price does continue to move down, you're not far off, right? This is that support level, right? So you're not far off on your entry there. So yeah, just monitor and see where it goes, right? Monitor and see where we end up. So entry somewhere around here, had
Yep.
price move up, right? So now we're just pulling back. As long as price doesn't take out that swing low, right? Look for price to continue to move to the upside. So be patient on it, right? And I know you're not over leveraged, so I might just let it swing, right? If it doesn't take out that low, allow price to do its thing.
Yep. Yep.
Cool deal. Any other questions on pound New Zealand? Nope. All right, cool deal. And CAD Swiss. This one I've just been monitoring. It's moving now, but I was just sitting tight watching it because the stochastic has been in the middle. Looking forward to push to the upside, but it hadn't been moving. But daily time frame, 50% retracement. Got a double bottom here, right? Now the stochastic is moving back into that sell zone with price pushing to the upside. All right, so you got your swing lows to form, right? Two candles to the right, and you see price taking off to the upside now. So 06329. So you got a higher one here.
No.
Oh, 239. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
239.
Because I'm up
Okay.
about
Good work.
30 pips.
Great work, Joy. Sevens in the chat for Joy. Catching the swing low and allowing price to go. So we're on the move to the upside. We'll see what happens when price gets here. 63,679. We do have rate statement for the Swissy coming tomorrow. So we'll see how that impacts, right? What they do. It's also going to be Chairman Jordan's last rate decision. So it'll be interesting to see the decision that he makes as he's leaving the position. But so as we approach this daily resistance level with the stochastic moving back up into that sell zone, let's see how things respond here. Right. Let's see if we break that and continue moving long, or if we get a pullback first and then a continuation to the upside. All right. So that's on the daily time frame. Come down to the 4. And you see here on the 4, right? Push down 618 retracement. See that double bottom there. And then you see the push long. Right. So we're headed back to the upside. Just looking for, when we get here, another pullback and then a continuation long.
I'm
Okay.
trying to get the consistency because a lot of times I know every time I get to the chart, it's in consolidation. I don't have the best time to get to the chart, but I know I don't need the best entry. So what my plan, my consistency I've been trying to do was wait for price to break out. And then whatever pullback I get, then enter. And then I look for that second candle, that second bull candle. So
On the
like right,
daily.
well on the four, because even though I'm going off the daily chart, I'm riding on the 4 hour.
Okay.
Because everything was down, 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 down. And then once we had got that doji, I didn't trust it. And then we started spiking. So once I had got that second swing low, and then it started consolidating again, and then I was like, well, let me just go ahead and pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm. So the thing that and Benny's broke this down, right? Great job on your patience and waiting for that swing low to form here, right? When it comes to managing the trade and taking profit, right? As the stochastic gets above 80% and gets into the sell zone, right? Looking at taking profit at that point, right? Because at some point you could see that retracement then come with price being overbought. So I think that'll come in alignment with this resistance level. So that's one of the things to look at, is where the trade is as price gets into that sell zone on the stochastic, right? That could be a way to help you manage that trade as price starts to extend. Um, or at least moving your stop into profit, if the expectation from a fundamental perspective and a technical perspective is for price to continue moving long, right? Maybe when this occurs, moving your stop into profit and protecting some of that, or maybe even taking some off the table, waiting for that pullback to then add to again, right? But using that stochastic as a measure to help you manage that trade as price moves in your direction. Has been some good insight.
I will take note of that because for the first 2 years, I've struggled to get in. Now I'm struggling to get out. Who would have thought you lose money getting out of a trade?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a beautiful part of the evolution, though, right? That's the progression. You got to figure out, okay, how am I going to enter these trades? Now, how am I going to maximize my profit, right? I've got the entry part. Now, how do I maximize my profit? How do I exit the trade? How do I, and that's where being specific in that trading plan comes in, right? And as that evolves, getting more clear about when you're going to take that profit, not holding a trade too long per se, giving money back to the market. How do you maximize that as price moves in your favor, right? So that's the next phase in the evolution, right? And so kudos to you for being in that exploratory phase to figure that out. So I love it. Love it. So we're pushing to the upside, right? We're moving along. Come down to the 1. Crown pattern, move along, right? Close to getting to that low, but boom, now we're moving to the upside. So now we're running this fib off the low here, and you see we're overextended, right? So we'll look for pullbacks and continuations. Okay, previous resistance level here, right? This zone. So as price creates another swing high, then we'll look for a pullback of some sort. Retest those previous resistance levels, and then we'll look for that continuation up. Okay, so that's where we are. Great work, Joy. Great work. Beautiful cloud break here on the one with that swing low forming. Boom, pullback, 618 level, continuation. All right, even monitoring off the daily, you still get everything falling into the sequence. All right, so great work. Great work. Questions on the cash Swiss?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Cool deal. I want to come back to this. Was there something else? Oh, before I do these defense stocks, pound cat, daily time frame, stochastic in the sell zone. We got our swing high to form on the daily. Boom. Right? We're pressing down. These are two candles to the right, pressing down to the downside. We got support and previous resistance here. We'll see if that holds, but we're moving to the downside here. Stochastic still overextended 94%. Okay. So as we come down to the 4, $80.20, moving to the downside. All right, so we're approaching the cloud here. We'll see, like I said, if this level holds as support as it did here, previous resistance, right? Headed to the downside. We get down to the 1, 80-20 scenario. Boom. Right? So if you're not in this one, all right, look to see if we get a pullback. Come back to retest this area here, and then see if we get this continuation to the downside. Like so. All right, so pound cat 80-20, right? Price moving, and then ultimately looking for a low price to get back long. All right, for the stochastic get to the buy zone, give us a low price, and then we can get back long on this pound cat, coming back to the daily, taking us to the matching D extension here. Okay. 618 retracement on the capital fib on the daily. All right, we're just looking for pullbacks and continuations to the upside as we sit at some key levels. Okay, so that's the pound cat moving to the downside. Look for a little bit more downside movement for a low price and then get back long. Any questions here? No? All right, cool deal. Perfect. So the first one I want to take a look at, is it in here? Do we have Rolls Royce in here? Rolls Royce is an aerospace and defense company. Let me see what their symbol is. I didn't realize this. I did not realize this. RYCE. No, it's not in here. So we're gonna look at it, but I'll see if I can find it elsewhere. But Rolls Royce is an aerospace and defense company. Oh, So that's one that we could also take a look at. If we can find it to trade. It'd be an interesting look to see where the market is for that. Let's go with Lockheed Martin. This is one of your primary defense companies. Come back to the daily. You see, we've been moving along for quite some time. All right, beginning of 2024, 2023. See, we've been moving up. All right. And as we get more talks about war, we'll see price continue. So here we got an 80-20 on the daily. Stochastic is still coming out of the buy zone, right? So maybe we get a retracement, maybe we don't. But if we do get a retracement here, right, we'll look for a low price on Lockheed Martin to get back long, right? Look for a low price to get back long. That's on the daily. Always been up. Is there an ETF for these aero defense space? I'm sorry, aero defense companies, Benny?
I have to look to see if there's like a separate, other than what's the sector that is in under Spider. I have to look to see. I can do some research on.
We appreciate it. So maybe we get a retracement here, or we push into the 118 and 127 zone before we get that retracement, right? So Stochastic's still coming out of that buy zone, and we're swing low to form here, right? Two candles to the right, that support level, previous resistance at the B boundary, right? So this is an opportunity, potentially take the trade to the upside, and we'll see what happens as we get into the 118 and 127 zone, potentially further. Okay, so that's on the daily. Down on the 4. Maybe we'll get there. Similar deal on the 4, right? There's our capital fib. We push higher, staying above the cloud, continuing to push long. Okay. Then down on the 1. That's our fib on the 186 retracement, pushing to the matching D extension there, around 582.28. So looking long on Lockheed Martin. Okay. And as conversation continues, we'll see the pullbacks, we'll see the continuations as the ebbs and flows continue. Okay. Another one, General Dynamics. Similar, right? Long. So here's another one, right? We'll look for pullbacks and continuations on. Just trying to break that B boundary, but we're trying to pull back here. So can we get price to come back to 50% level, 289, 285, right? Give us a nice little discount as Stochastic pushes back into the buy zone, right? So look for this retracement to come here. And then once we get that swing low, buying opportunities. Okay, so it's another one to write down. GD, General Dynamics, coming down to the 4. We got a fresh AB boundary. Boom. All right, so similar to that daily time frame. Stochastic approaching that sell zone. We'll look for the retracement to come there. I wouldn't sell this, but I'd look for a low price and then a swing low to form on the daily. Boom. Similar story on the 1. Okay. So looking for low prices to get back long on these defense stocks. Questions here? Nope. Okay, cool deal. So those are just a couple of the defense stocks we want to take a look at. Benny, you got anything else top of mind, bro?
Nope, not right now.
All right, good people. That's all I've got. All right, we got some defense stocks. We'll look for ETFs in that defense area. As far as the trades that we're in, continue to manage those trades, man. Continue to manage the trades. And continue to be patient, right? Waiting on that daily time frame to form, looking for your optimal trading opportunity. Any questions before we wrap things up? No? All right, good people.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt you. If it's not too much of a bother, is it okay if you can check the GU pound dollar?
Yeah, no problem.
Please? Thank you.
You're welcome, Tyrone.
What's going on? You good?
I'm good. You?
Yeah, man. Not too bad. Not too bad. Just like working on a
Awesome.
little break.
Okay. All right. So, pound dollar. Stochastic in the sell zone. I manually drew this fib in because it didn't pop in. Okay. But we broke the B boundary, trying to push to that 118, 127 zone. Looking to see, I didn't look at the DXY. So let me bounce back real quick, Tyrone, look at the DXY, and then this will make a little bit of sense on this move, right? So DXY push down support level, right? $100, double bottom, turning over, stochastic in the buy zone. On the daily, stochastic is already pushed out of that zone, so we're kind of stuck in the middle a little bit. So I'm watching the dollar to see where will price actually move. Okay. Right now we're pushing back to the upside, but how long will that sustain itself? Do we have another push down to get us to 99, right? In this 118, 127 zone. So that's where we are on the dollar. We're getting a bit of a retracement now, but this is just a retest of the zone that it just broke out of. Retest and then a continuation down. Okay, so that's kind of where my eyes are looking, is more downward pressure on the dollar, at least in the short term, right? Getting us down to these levels. If that's the case, coming back to the pound dollar, we do have a stochastic in the sell zone. So as the dollar retraces, we could see this push down, right? But maybe we're coming back to retest this daily level that we just broke through. Okay. So potential, right? And you see them. You see the steps, right? Break, retest, right? So is this another break, retest opportunity? Give us a low price to then get back long and push us into this next level here at 137. Okay, so that's kind of where my eyes are, and that's what I'm looking at from a longer term perspective. As we come down to the 4, Here you have your 80-20 with this daily level just below that 382. Right? Starting that move to the downside. So looking for that retracement to come, and we'll see, right? Maybe we get a deeper push into the 618, 786 range, right? Into our sweet spot to give us that optimal opportunity to get back long from a Fib perspective, right? So we're in this retracement phase here of this 80-20 on the 4, right? So more downward pressure. We know that daily stochastic in the sell zone, right? So moving down here. Okay. And then it's how deep does that price go? Does the dollar find support and actually start moving north and break some of those previous support levels? Or do we just retest and continue? Right. So looking at both sides of it, also understanding from Bank of England perspective, they said they're going to be a little bit more cautious when it comes to rate cuts. So keep that in mind. Okay. So that's on the 4, 80-20, moving to the downside. Coming down to your 1. Say it again.
Oh no, sorry, I was just saying I got you that way there.
Okay. Yep. And so on the 1, we already got a 382, right? And we're pulling back now. Right. So do we get a deeper retracement on the 1 hour, giving us that 618 range that we'd like to see again for a long opportunity there? Right. So pressing down, we could see more downward movement and then see if we get a low price to get back long. That is my thought on the pound dollar. Questions? No? You seeing something similar, Tyrone?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm looking at it as well, and I've noticed it hasn't finished its D to C or C to D move. So I was just literally waiting for it to finish up first, and then because it's hitting an all-time high soon, I was looking to short. But yeah, this is actually a good play. This is a good play as well.
Yes, sir. Yep, definitely moving up in the range here, right? We haven't been this high since 2022, right? 137. So definitely on the move long from a monthly perspective, right? And you see
Yeah.
we broke this key level here. And so, right, as we break those key levels, do we pull back and retest, and does that hold that support? And then do we continue?
Yeah.
Great eyes on that, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'm not sure on that one, Joy. I don't think so just yet. Looking for another chart for, you mean like related to nat gas?
Yeah, because everyone I look at, it doesn't have the same metrics as Darwin or
Oh yeah.
the MT4s. And sometimes the price action does not be the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Not yet. Benny, have we found another chart for nat gas?
No.
Okay. Well, it's forming some support. If y'all ain't looked at it in a while, it's coming back to it.
What's the symbol here in
The one I was using was NGS, I believe. Yeah, my price action don't look nothing like that.
no?
Nope. On my 1 hour, my
Oh, I'm on the daily.
oh, I can't see. I seen
That's all
one.
right. No, it initially popped in on the 1 hour, but I switched to the daily. So this is our daily chart here. Range bound, potential crown pattern in the consolidation. All right.
Yeah, and if you look at Darwin, like it's broken above the cloud with twists and everything.
Okay. So daily time frame, we are above the cloud. We're pulling back now. Stochastic is in the sell zone though, so we could see another pullback there. But let's see. On the 4, we're moving long. Let's pull this off. Yeah, 32. Oops. Boom, took that out. Yeah, so we're trying to reverse out here. We got a 50% retracement pushing back down. So we could see price come back down lower here. I'll be interested to see if we break this level first. Right? Before getting back to this daily support here. Yeah, let's watch this one and see. We're pulling back now, but this one from a daily perspective, after the retracement is looking long. All right. I'm gonna move down, potentially coming back to 1837, and then looking for more movement to the upside. Because we got that 618 retracement already. All right, so filling out this crown pattern, maybe a double bottom here at 1838, and then a move back to the upside. That's what I'm seeing there. All right. All right, good people. Gotta hop. Gotta get the kid ready for school. Up 17%. Beautiful. Great work, Joy. Great work. Great work. Yeah. Those daily levels are key, Donette. Daily levels are key. You guys have a phenomenal Wednesday, good people. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Until then, accountability group, 6 p.m. tonight. If you're able to be there, definitely tap in with the team. Bye. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Logan says bye.
Bye, Logan.